Okay, so we're answering the question today, what stocks can I buy with 1 million Naira? So some people ask, what stocks can I buy with 500,000, with 50,000, with 100,000? It does not really matter the amount. I'm going to take you through the step-by-step process on how to make that decision. I want you to be an informed investor. I want you to be an engaged investor. All right. So, as an engaged investor, you don't just depend on people giving you stock picks all the time. If you're a starter, it's fine to give recommendation like I'm going to do tonight, but it's better that you actually understand the process so that you can always make your pick. What stocks can I buy with 1 million? What stocks can I buy with 500,000 or with 100,000? I'm going to answer that tonight. And more importantly, give you the tool, the process to be able to do that. But I want to share a larger concept first. So those of you on Zoom, I believe you can see my screen. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Thumbs up, anyone? Can you see my screen? All right, good. Okay. Yes. So what stocks can I buy with 1 million Naira? That question is a very important one for every investor. And as a matter of fact, for everyone who is interested in becoming financially free. Why? Because there are three core financial freedom skills. Only three, not five, not four, not seven. There are only three core financial freedom skills. Number one is the skill to make money. The skill to make money. And if you don't even have the skill to earn income, to make money, you can't even begin the journey of financial fitness. So the skill to make money is number one. The second set of skills is a skill to manage money. And then all three skills are very important. So if you earn money and then you are unable to manage it, you can never become financially free. And then the third set of skills are the skills to multiply money. So I like keeping these things simple because sometimes we overcomplicate things. Good enough that I am a lay person like yourself. I'm also in the journey. And one of the things that I find helpful is to simplify all these complicated concepts and make it very, very easy for myself and then for others. So now, what stocks can I buy with 1 million Naira? Which of those three skills is this speaking to? You can type in the comment section, or those of you on Facebook, you can type it. So when people ask, what stocks can I buy with 1 million or with 500,000 or with 100,000 or with 10 million, which of the three financial freedom skills is it referring to? Is it making money? Is it managing it? Or is it multiplying it? So I want to make sure you're all good students and that you're following. What stocks can I buy with 1 million Naira? Is this question speaking to making money, managing money, or multiplying money? Okay. So let's see what we have in the chat. Excellent. So he's speaking to multiplying money. Very, 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 very correct. So you see, some people make money very easily. And so I'm sure some of you have friends who literally make money. Everything they touch turns to gold. Anybody has a friend like that? You know, everything they touch turns to gold. Now, sometimes you find people who have the skills to make money. They have that competence, to make money, but they can't manage it. So you probably know people like that. They always make money, but they are always broke because they never know how to manage the money. And then there are people who make money. They are able to manage it because they can save, they can practice delayed gratification, they understand the principles of paying themselves first. So they know how to manage money, but they don't know how to multiply money. So, and that's the problem, because if you don't know how to multiply money, your money will not grow, because money only grows when you know how to multiply them. How do you multiply money? There are several ways to multiply money, but the most powerful way to multiply money is investing. Investing. And then the most important investment is investing in yourself, first of all, and then investing in the financial markets. And then you can also invest in businesses. So this is really a very important way to give you an overview of this, because it's always important to have the big picture, to have the foundation for what we want to do. And then we can now talk about it, and then we talk about implementing it. So now, yesterday, for the people in the financial fitness class, cohort 4, I met with them last night. We had an onboarding welcome meeting. And I did talk about the importance of having a system to make your wealth not just a haphazard thing. You know, I meet some people and they say, oh, I bought stocks 15 years ago. That's it. And they never bought stocks again. And they never even monitored their stocks to know where things, stand. Some have lost the share certificates that they bought in IPOs. Some don't even know what happened to. They bought some very useless stock, and that doesn't even exist anymore. And then it's not a system, it's just a one-off thing, but you want to have a system. And having a system is part of the making money, managing money, and then multiplying money. You need a system. A system gives you consistency. A system gives you confidence. And what my system does for me is it gives me confidence. So because there are days that my investments don't do well. But you see, I don't let my emotions rule me. I don't dance to my emotions. I keep to my systems. Yeah, because if you have to dance across the emotional spectrum as your wealth journey is changing, you're going to fall sick. You're going to fall sick and go to the hospital. You're going to be too stressed. But when you have a system you've tested that works, like I do, so it doesn't matter if I'm having a temporary setback. It doesn't matter if the investment I made in the market is down. Sometimes it's down and sometimes it's up. That's just the nature of the game. But because I have a system, I'm consistent. I'm not only consistent, I am confident. Consistent, confident. I'm looking for another C word, Now, so how do you create your own wealth building system? This is one of the frameworks I use. Now, if you remember the Pareto principle, 80% of your output, 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. And then the problem that many of us have is being able to identify that 20% of our daily activities, of our involvement, of our commitments in time and in money and resources and in business that produce the 80% of our wealth. Because the smartest thing that you can do for yourself and for your family when it comes to building wealth is to identify those 20% of activities that produce the most result and to double down on them and to focus on them. Throw away everything else. For instance, I found that I have a 10-year plan. In 10 years, I'm going to be 70. And I have a 10-year plan. Man, so I have numbers. I have a vision board of what the next 10 years looks like. And I have a system to make it happen. So because of it, I'm not comparing myself with anybody. I am not under pressure to impress anybody. I am not being Nobody's feeding me, so nobody's controlling me. Nobody's opinion is kind of controlling me. My eyes on that journey in 10 years' time. And so what I basically do is to reverse engineer from where I see myself in 10 years, from the things I have on my vision board. For those of you who are in the Financial Fitness Challenge, make notes and remind me, because it's going to be very practical. Some of these things I'm talking about, when we start our plenary sessions, you want to learn about them or to construct yours. Just remind me, about them. Like the vision board is really very powerful. Having a financial vision board or a vision board for your life. So all that is part of it, all that are part of the system. Now, so I'm asking myself, if I'm to get to where I need to be in 10 years' time, what system and what structures do I need to put in place? Because structure is extremely important. I'm so structured that there's a time to wake up, there's a time to have my morning meditation and devotion. There's a time immediately after my devotion to check messages. And then there's a time followed immediately. In fact, my structure starts with a breathing exercise. Once I wake up, it's perfect silence. So even my wife respects that and also respects her silence. Perfect silence, for minutes, and then some breathing exercises, and then my devotion, and I read the scripture and I have a conversation with God, asking him, what I need to know for the day, what I need to do to bring him the most glory in the day, areas of my life that I need to work on, trust the Holy Spirit to help me to work on. We have all that conversation, the preparations that I need to make for the day, meeting my clients, talking to people around the world, through my media, social media, and all that. So I have all that moment. When I'm done, that's when I go jogging. And then my jogging is structured in such a way that I'm also having education every single time I'm jogging. So often you will see me with earpods. I'm not listening to music. I don't listen to music when I jog, but I'm listening to podcasts, which I pre-download. So I have Starlink Wi-Fi at home. And so whatever I need to watch while I'm jogging for 1 hour or for 1.5 hours, I download it. I use YouTube Premium. So I'm able to download and play them offline. So when I'm jogging, I'm getting educated, I'm learning at the same time. And then part of my structure is when I'm jogging, I talk to my audience. Something drops in my heart, something I need to tell my audience. That's why often you see my videos, I'm actually in my jogging kit and all that. So the structure, there is structure. There's structure. And then because I also practice intermittent fasting. There's a time I take my breakfast. So sometimes I'm having breakfast at 2 p.m. or 12 noon. There's a structure. So there's a structure, all right? That's really important when you're building wealth, because wealth loves discipline. One of the key skills for wealth is discipline, is structure. All right. So how do you create your system? Because I'm talking about this system and structure because if you understand this, what I'm explaining to you, then questions like what stocks can I buy with 1 million become very, very easy to answer. Then you are not going to need me every time you need to answer that question. You're not going to need me. You will know exactly what to do because you have the structure, because you understand what I'm teaching you. So this is how I created my own structure, like every single day. I identified that these are the most important activities, the priority activities, like the Pareto 20% that will produce all my results, okay, in the next 10 years when I turn 70. If I practice this, if I follow this structure and this system, I'm going to hit it. And I have big numbers for my 70. And then you've never seen my birthday pictures or birthday celebration or birthday video anywhere. None of you has ever seen it because I've never celebrated my birthday because I don't think right now that there is much to celebrate. But I told my family, I warned all of them, nobody should do this surprise thing for me, because once I get wind of it, I'm surprised you won't see me there. Maybe I'll just fly out and then you will be waiting for me on, so they know that why I'm so focused, and I want to use my 70th birthday celebration as an incentive, okay, as a time to say, okay, the grace of God working in me has tried. And so it will be a pleasant 70th birthday. Now, so this is what I have to do every day, every week, every month to make sure that I have that incentive on my 70th birthday, where hopefully all of you here will be there that day, wherever the world is happening.
I will be there.
And then we will remember that I said this 10 years before then. So the first part of my system is learning. Learning is a major part of my system. For many years, I have determined that I must read 3 hours minimum every day. Sometimes I escape, some of my escape places like Covenant University, I escape there for 3, 4, 5 days, and I'll go there with books. And when I'm there, I switch off my phone. There's only one phone number that my family has that they can reach me. All the other phone, nobody can reach me. And I'm reading and I'm journaling. Learning is a very important part of building wealth, because the reason is the more you know, the better choices and decisions, financial decisions that you make. And if you look at these books behind me, I've read most of these books. And in fact, I selected each of them. So I know any book you pick behind me and ask me what it's talking about, I can tell you. Because most of these books, 95% of these books, I bought them from used bookstores in the US. Whenever I travel to the US, each year I go to the US, sometimes twice, 3 times, once. As I'm landing in a city, the first thing I look for is used bookstores. As I'm landing in the city, I'm looking for used bookstores. And then the next morning, I'm at used bookstores. And I can be at used bookstores from 9 a.m. to when the guys are closing and they're literally begging me, And then I'm looking at books, I'm selecting books. I'm looking at where is it I'm going in the next 10 years? And then what body of knowledge, what kind of information, what skills do I need to develop to help me in this phase of the journey? So I use that. I'm reading the books. I selected all of them. 95% of them are from the US, used bookstores. Okay, so learning is a very important part of my system, and I encourage you, it should be a very important part of your system as well. I learned a very powerful principle during one of my devotionals, during one of my meditations, and it was from a Jewish priest called Ezra. So in his writing, in Ezra 7:10, he said something, and I got stuck there for literally days, and from there I created a system that has helped me and helped a lot of people. I've been coaching one-on-one. So I called it the Ezra Code. So that little scripture says that Ezra set himself, he determined this in his heart. He set himself apart to study, to practice, to do, and to teach the law. So I came up with what I call the Ezra principle. I've taught it to a couple of business schools and then business leaders, the Ezra principle of succeeding, Ezra principle of leadership. So the first thing Ezra did was to study it. Because if you don't have the body of wisdom and knowledge and understanding in anything, you can't progress. So the first thing he did, Ezra studied. He devoted time and energy and resources to study. And as he was studying, he was practicing. He was not just studying the book of the law. He was practicing it. When he says, do not covet your neighbor's wife, he practiced it. When he said, do not steal, so he was practicing that. Then the third thing Ezra did was he taught. All my life was built on that code. Because what I'm teaching you right now, there are things I've studied. I didn't go to school to learn finance. It's a lot of study, reading, and then I'm practicing. I am practicing. What I'm teaching you right now, like this slide you're seeing, it's not from any textbook. It's not from any textbook. I can guarantee that you haven't seen it anywhere. If you have seen it, it's pure coincidence. Because I'm practicing the Ezra principle. I read, I learn, then I practice it, and then I teach it. And this is why so many people around the world resonate with what I'm teaching, because I'm not teaching like it's a theory. I don't even know the theories very well. I'm teaching what I'm practicing and what is working for me. So the first part of the system is to learn on a daily basis. Then the second part of the system is to earn. And then the earning represents that first part of financial fitness, which is to earn, to make money. So you have to earn money every day. That's where I also implemented the everyday money system. So today, even today, I have earned money. I think I've made about 20,000 Naira today, and then about $2,000, $2, I beg your pardon. Oh, let that be a prophecy, $2,000 today. So about $2, it's a principle. It's a system. So I earn. Now, the second part of my daily system is to save. Now, saving for me is not to put money in the bank, in my bank account, and leave it there. I transfer money direct. Okay, so today I transferred money direct to my investment account with FSDH. In fact, I transferred 114,000 today out of the account, because I don't let such money sit in my account. It goes straight into the investment account. Good. So there is, I've earned today. I've also saved. Now, the next thing, tomorrow, I am giving them a buy order. In fact, I'm buying Aradel. That's another recommendation. You can make a side note of that. I want to accumulate Aradel in the next 1 or 2 weeks. We can talk more about Aradel, and then you can look it up right now. I want to position in Aradel. So you see, that is the fourth step in my system, my wealth building system. And then the other thing I do now is to monitor and adjust the plan every single day. I rebalance my portfolio to know what should be there, what should leave that place, and then what should come out of it. Okay, those of you that just joined on LinkedIn, I beg your pardon, on Facebook, I'm going to repost the link again for you to join on Facebook, on Zoom, if you can, so you can see what I'm sharing and what I'm about to share. Now, I have determined to, or decided that we should go on Zoom, because Facebook does not allow us to share a screen and at the same time to show my face. And then it doesn't allow me to bring you on video. We've tried it a couple of times. It doesn't work. But on Zoom, it's closer, so we can see ourselves. I can get responses from you. And then you can also see the slides and the things I'm sharing when I'm talking. So if you're able to join us, hello, James Aniedo. Yes, good evening. Brian, Easy Granite. So Amara, Far Beyond, Davy Longo, Onyedikachi Okoli, Priska, Las, Onishi. If you can join us, Ude Gospel, Hawa Yusuf. Yeah, so I just put the Zoom link in the comment section, so you can click and join us here, so you can see what I'm sharing. Okay, so this is the system. Now, having talked about the system, let's now talk about the steps. Like, you have 1 million Naira today. What are you going to invest it in? The very first step, and I always emphasize this, is to determine your investment goals. Why do you want to invest this 1 million Naira? It is important. If you don't ask that question, I don't think you should invest it in the stock market. I think maybe you should do something else with it. You need to ask yourself, why exactly are you investing? Are you investing to build your net worth? Or are you investing toward your retirement? Are you investing for the sake of growing your income? These are really important because why you are investing will drive the decisions of what you are investing in. I just said something profound. So don't ask what to invest in until you have determined why you are investing, because it's why you are investing that should control what you invest in. If you don't have a why, then that investment is at risk. Okay, so what is your risk tolerance? Are you low, medium, high risk? So people who are younger, except people who are like us, who are young at heart, tend to be a little bit, they have some higher risk appetite. But I think as people grow older, they seem to want to go for something that has low risk and things like that, because people reason, okay, this 200 million, they have paid me as my gratuity. So if I put all of that in a high risk investment, and then the whole thing goes, but you need to know your risk profile. Are you a low risk tolerant person? Are you the kind of person that if you invest something today, you will not sleep tonight? You will not sleep for like 3 weeks. There are people like that. They put in 1 million. They can't sleep. They need to take sleep medicine to be able to sleep. Then you need to know yourself. But there are other people, like us, who have high risk appetite, and we can lose the 1 million naira and not bat an eyelid. And then we try again, okay, as long as we know what we are doing, okay? So that's important. Step one. Step two is to understand risk and diversification, all right? How much risk are you willing to take? So there are 3 different levels of stock risk, 3 or 4, okay? But just say 3. So I'm going to tell you about them in the very next slide. There's the blue chip, there's the growth, there's the speculative, there's the value. All right, so and I'm going to teach you the importance of diversifying across different sectors. So step 3 is for you to research stocks. There are so many good tools out there right now. The internet, like I said, and technology have made financial freedom, democratized financial freedom, because you have so much information at your fingertips that we didn't have 5-10 years ago. All right, so you can research. And then when you are doing research, you're looking at 3 particular things as a beginner investor, not to complicate it. If you are researching the companies, okay, like you go to, let me just show you in a moment. So there are so many research tools out there at your fingertip. And let me just show you some very, very simple research method for stocks. Okay. So now, if I want to research stocks as a beginner, there are many places I can go to. I can go to the Nigerian Stock Exchange website because there's a whole lot. Or let's say I want to research Zenith Bank, just on Google. Okay, don't forget what I'm typing here right now. Just type that company and type update. You get so much. Just type that company. Nobody taught me this thing. It's in the course of my researching and learning that I found out that I can simply go to Google, because now you have all these generative AI that's in the search engine right now. So it gives you so much. So if I want to find quick information about Zenith Bank to research it, I just go to Google and type Zenith update. It gives me, it says in 2024, it won the Bank of the Year. And of course, these are the sort of things that drive stock prices. And so I'm already saying that Zenith is a good one for me. And then their gross earnings grew by 64%. Okay, that was in 2023. So I get all this. They started the branch in Paris. That's a good one. They did this rights issue and public offer. And then they raised 350 billion. That's amazing. Okay. So now, and a lot of other things, I can dig more by just typing the company and type update. So if I want to now research MTN Nigeria update, okay, it gives me all this important information about MTN. Now, the challenge with this one is that there's MTN Group, there's MTN Nigeria. So if I want to do, let's say, Dangote Cement, just type the company and say update. And then it will give you some very quick things that you can use to make decisions. That is one quick way. You know, you can research stocks. You can research stocks. Okay, then there are, okay, this is, you know, I talked about Aradel the other time. So I can say Aradel update on Google. It gives me a lot of information that I can use. Okay, ProShare is another place. And then I can see even Aradel 2024 results, you know, other people. It's amazing. Now, this is why this stock, this was released 6 days ago. This is why I'm believing, I'm sensing that this stock is going to do a serious bull very, very soon. Revenue of 581 billion, 162%. And then profit after 6 of this, up by 360%. So you will see, I saw this and I said, look, I'm going to start accumulating Aradel tomorrow because for some reason, the stock hasn't even started moving. But when it does, it's likely going to be very crazy. So this is how you research. It's not very complicated. And then you can always go to all the, you can always go to all the other sites, like the NGX site. And then you can see all the companies in the NGX site. You can see all the companies and their corporate disclosures. Everything, all the things going on here. I can't even believe this. See, I'm just seeing this one, and this was just today. Access Holding, appointment of Mr. Uche Oji as an independent non-executive director of Access Bank. Fantastic news. I know Uche Oji. Uche Oji was my school mate. We were in 9th together at University of Port Harcourt. And then he was the MD of Sovereign Wealth Fund. Extremely brilliant person. So this news is a market-moving news that Uche is coming to Access. That is amazing. So this is how you research. So now I can actually, based on the things I'm seeing here, make my decisions on Access Bank. So I hope that is very helpful. So that's about researching stocks, which is the third step. Okay, so you research the stock, their fundamentals, their performance history, like what you just saw in Aradel, their dividends and earnings per share. You can find all that information right there online. Then step number 4. Okay, before we go to step number 4, let's speak a little bit to the blue chips, the growth stocks, and the speculative.
Oh.
All right. Okay. So now what are blue chip stocks? What are growth stocks? What are speculative stocks? Because these are the things you need to know to be able to make your decision on what to put your 1 million Naira into. So the blue chip stocks are generally low risk, and they are established and stable companies with long history. That's what makes them blue chip. And examples of blue chip companies: MTN, GT Bank, Nestle, Nigeria, Dangote Cement. So they are called blue chip. So you hardly lose money on blue chip because they are established, they are good. Their growth might be very slow, But when it comes to long term, now we are beginning to talk about your financial goal. If you're looking for long term, you're probably better off buying blue chips. What are growth stocks? These are companies with high growth potential, but they are still developing. All right. So those are growth stocks. And then you have like Presco. Presco is crazy. You know, in November, I told many of you, I don't know if any of you here remembers, I told you to buy Presco when I saw their results. I told you to buy Presco. Presco was amazingly positioned. And in fact, for some of you who follow Professor Ndubisi Ekekwe on LinkedIn, I was surprised. I opened LinkedIn this evening and I saw what he wrote. Everybody was writing on Presco. And in fact, Ndubisi Ekekwe was saying that palm oil is the new Bitcoin and is the new, what was the other thing he said it was? You know, is the new gold and is the new Bitcoin. And that is even a better Bitcoin because the money is just incredible. And then he was writing because of the results of Presco. You know, Presco had today only bids, no ask. Presco had like almost 4 million bids. No, I mean, zero ask. In other words, nobody was selling. And the thing went 10% today. Tomorrow is going to do another 10%. So I bought at about 585 or something. No. I bought at, okay, I can always check that. I think I bought at like 520 something when I told people to buy. So today, Presco moved to 643 something. By tomorrow, Presco is going to do 700 and still people can't get to buy. Because one of the things I need you to understand in the game of investing, that many times it's not actually what you buy, it's when you buy. It's really important. And then the conversation we are having today is to help you to know when to buy. Okay, so that's a growth stock. You also have Access Bank. And then Aradel, I classify Aradel as a growth stock. I also classify it as a speculative stock. So speculative, you have like Transcorp, you have like Kutix, and you have Aradel again. I put Aradel there. And then the blue chips are stable. They're less likely to fail. Their risk level is low. The growth stocks, their risk level is medium. They have great potential, but they can face challenges. And then some of those things can go in different places because you can also put Zenith Bank as a blue chip. You can also put First Bank, for instance, as a blue chip. It all depends on your preference. Return potential for blue chips is steady, but it's slow. Growth, but it's reliable. Growth stocks have high growth potential, but may be volatile. So I just told you, some people actually, I bought Presco at like 520 something or 4 something. I have to check. But there were people who bought Presco just 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I learned that Presco was like 10 Naira. Presco was like 10 Naira 5 years ago, 2020 during the pandemic when the stock market literally went down. It was like 10 Naira. So somebody actually calculated that if you put in 10 million in 2020 in Presco, 10 million would have gotten you 1 million shares. That 10 million Naira would be 600 and something million today, 5 years after. This is not fairy tale. There are people who understand the game who are making that kind of money. So that is it about blue chips, growth stocks, and speculative. So you can actually screen capture this. This is one of the most important slides I'm sharing this evening. So you can actually screen capture this. It will help you to make that decision. So I'll just give you 5 seconds to take a picture of that. Those of you on Facebook who don't see that, you can always go back to, you can always go to the replay on YouTube. And let me give you, for those of you who have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, in order to have access to all the previous ones that we have done, let me quickly drop the link for you. So all you need to do is click there and then subscribe. And then make sure that when you subscribe, that you hit the notification bell so that whenever the replays drop, you can see them. And then for some of you who haven't watched the back episodes here on Zoom, I've also put it there. So you can just click there and subscribe. There are about 505 videos like this one that we are doing tonight on different subjects, coming out of debt, cash flow, everyday money, all kinds of, small things that people are not talking about, but very, very practical. So subscribe and then hit notification. Those of you on Zoom, you can do the same thing. So you can see that. Okay. So now let's go to the next step. Now that you have an understanding of the blue chips, growth stocks, and speculative, the next step would be, how do you now create your portfolio? All right. So you create a portfolio plan. Now, the portfolio plan is one of the most important things you will do in investing. You don't just invest anyhow. Okay, like I have my journal, my investment journal right here. Okay, it's a few in Facebook, you're seeing that. And then here, so I have my wealth journal here. So it's in my journal that I'm not just investing anyhow or anything that just comes. I have to plan my portfolio. So I'm looking at the next 10 years. I want to grow my net worth, which is legacy net worth, because right now I'm at the point in my life, thank God, that I'm not looking for food. Thank God. I'm not looking for food. I'm not looking for clothes. I'm not looking for anything. Okay. So I'm actually at that legacy level, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing, for you, free of charge, 1,000 days, giving you this kind of education free. It's free to you, but it costs me my time, my energy, and the resources, because I'm at that legacy time in my life that I'm saying, how many people before I die can I get 1,000 people and 1,000 families and then 10 million families in Africa that I can help to come out of struggle? Because Africa, for more than 600 years, we have been subservient to other parts of the world. And they've broken the Africans' psyche, the Africans' self-image, the Africans' self-belief, And then you meet many Africans, they actually think the world has made them think that they are second class, that they are not fully human, that they don't have the IQ of other parts of the world. And then it seems to be like an unfortunate self-fulfilling prophecy, because we don't have, very, good leadership that can help Africans to grow their potential. So education system, everything is corrupt, everything is, So, and I'm saying, in the midst of all that darkness, can I help 10 million African families to come out of struggle and then to start believing in themselves again as God has made them, equal with any part of the world? So that's important for me. Now, I'm not working backwards to say, what kind of portfolio do I need to have in order to help me to do that? That was why, like, if you look at my portfolio, I am looking at a long term. And because I'm looking at a long term, I'm doing mostly blue chip stocks. I'm doing mostly blue chip stocks. I'm not even sure I have speculative stocks now in my portfolio. This is why I'm saying that your investment goal is important, because that is, if you know your why, if you define your why, remember I told you earlier that your why will control your what. So because I'm looking at a 10-year window and I'm looking at growing my income, and I'm looking at creating a portfolio that will allow me to do certain things around the world, in the Pacific, in the Caribbean, in the African countries, with my wife. So we have that vision. So now you need to create a portfolio plan. For instance, I've identified specific blue chip companies. And then in my wealth diary, the plan is to grow each of those blue chip companies to at least 1 million. At least 1 million. Some of them I'm at 8,000. Some of them I'm at 60-something thousand shares. Some of them I'm at 70. Some of them I'm at 4,000 shares now. But the goal is to bring all of them. GT Bank minimum 1 million. MTN minimum 1 million shares. So you see, I have a portfolio plan. Now, because of it, I don't struggle asking myself, what if I have 1 million, what do I do? Is anybody getting what I'm saying? So if I have 1 million, automatically it goes there because I look at the portfolio, it's not up to 1 million of First Bank yet. I look at the portfolio, it's not up to 1 million of MTN yet. Then automatically that 1 million goes into, I say, okay, this month, what are the buying opportunities in MTN? I look at my charts and then I say, okay, I can buy at this entry point. And I put that 1 million there because it's servicing my portfolio, which is servicing my vision board for the next 10 years. So you create a portfolio plan. Your portfolio should be aligned with your vision board. Your portfolio should be aligned with your financial goals. So an example, for instance, if you have 1 million Naira, you can say, okay, you are going to put 600,000 in blue chips. So I hope you can see how we've arrived at this stage. Because I could easily have said, once we started, we could have finished in 3 minutes. I'll just tell you, okay, go and buy GT Bank, go and buy this. But right now, you've had the education and the wisdom of how to make such choices and decisions. And I can decide, okay, 300,000 will go into growth stocks. And then 100,000, I can decide to play with 100,000 Naira. So you see how my 1 million is allocated. Okay. Now, the final step, which is very important, is now monitoring your investment. So now I have all those stocks in my portfolio, but that doesn't mean I just buy them and sleep. I'm also monitoring them. I'm monitoring the companies, the movements. Like today, I have just learned today with you just now, because they released that today, which is 3rd February, that Uche Oji has been appointed as an non-executive director so in Access Bank. That's very important information for me. Knowing Uche and a couple of other fundamentals about Access Bank, I can say, all right, my stock in Nestle or my stock in Nigerian Brewery, which has stagnated for almost 2 years. That's actually what I did late last year. My stocks in Nigerian Breweries has stagnated for almost 2 years. I bought it at 48 Naira, and then it stagnated at 37 Naira for a long time. So I lost hundreds of thousands. I decided to sell it to rebalance my portfolio. So the point I'm making there is, do not just buy the stocks and then go to sleep. You've got to monitor it so that you can adjust. All right. So that is how I will spend 1 million Naira if I have to invest it. So that's how I'm going to spread it across the blue chips, across the growth stocks, and across the speculative, based on my financial goals. So the first question I'm going to ask myself is, why am I investing this 1 million Naira? And I really want to continue to stress that the stock market is a long-term game. A long-term game. You do best in stock market, when you do a long-term game. So the stock market is not where you put that your 1 million Naira today, and then next week you're expecting it to become 2 million. Because that's the kind of investment mindset that we have been spoiled with in this part of the world. Because we are used to people telling us, bring that your 1 million, and then every week we will pay you 700,000 Naira. And people are falling to that up to today. But the stock market is not like, a get rich quick thing. But I've just shown you how to plan it systematically and how to create your wealth and build your wealth in a very systematic and structured way. All right, so we'll take some time to answer your questions. If you have a question on those of you on Zoom, just please raise your hands, and then when I call you, you can unmute. But let me look at Facebook and see the comments and questions that we have on Facebook. Okay, I saw a few comments before. Fabian said, I hope the session will be uploaded on YouTube. Yes, yeah, you are still at work, right? Yes, it will always be on YouTube in the next 2 hours. In fact, like 1 hour after we are done, it will be there. Anedu James says, I have 150,000 Naira and I want to invest it into palm oil business. Okay, I need a little more detail. I need to invest into palm oil business. I just need a business advice for a starter like me. Okay, we're talking about investing in the stock market tonight, but if you're thinking about investing in palm oil, so we can have a separate conversation, on that. But I assure you that palm oil is a very good business. We don't even produce enough in this part of the world. But when you say you want to invest in palm oil with 150,000 Naira, I don't have enough information to be able to advise you. Are you talking about producing? Are you talking about storage part of it? Are you talking about which part of the value chain of palm oil business? It's very, very vast. So we can talk about that some other time. Let me see what else we have on Facebook. Stephen says, what are speculative stocks? Okay, Stephen, I would like you to actually make sure you go to Facebook to watch the replay. But the speculative stocks, just like the name implies, they are very high risk stocks. You don't know which direction they will go. The company is just starting. They are not as established as the blue chip. It's just maybe like a startup. And you don't know, nobody knows. If they do very well, the stock will do extremely well. You can go from like 1 Naira or 2 Naira all the way to 30 Naira. But it's also very risky because you can also lose all that money. Okay, so let's come to Zoom. Okay, do we have any questions here? God's will. Oh, thank you. Thank you, God's will. God's will says, thank you, sir. You are really doing a lot for us in Africa. My pleasure. Prosperity is asking, how do I open an account? Do I go through a broker or do I open it by myself? I believe you're talking about stockbroking account to participate in the Nigerian stock market. You would want to go through a licensed stockbroker. Let me actually put now. I use FSDH, but in recent times, FSDH has not been as responsive. I've used them for over 20 years, and they have been really phenomenal because I grew my portfolio, my wealth. I actually started with them. But I think a lot has changed over the time. So these days, their customer service is not as responsive as it used to be. And then many of you are encouraged to open there. You've been trying to reach out to them, and they haven't. So I would actually encourage you, Prosperity, to check. I hear that Atlas portfolio is a very good one. In fact, I intend to open an account with them. I've actually started filling in the information. So we can actually look at it together so that you know what it involves. You can open an account with them and you don't have to travel down to Nigeria to be able to do that. So this is what the form looks like. I'm going to open this account, with them. I hear that they are very good and that they are very, very responsive. So you fill in your name. If it's a joint account, you indicate, but if it's not, you just fill in your name. And I think that what they're looking for, the documents you need to have, your utility bill, passport photo. Yeah, if it's a joint account, then instruction. But if it's not, I don't think that is necessary. And then you can actually have your account open within 24 hours. So this is Atlas portfolio. So let me put their URL in the chat. So I hope that they will be a bit more responsive than FSDH. Clement is saying, how will opening another broker affect you if you already have a broker account? Nothing. It won't affect anything. At the moment, I actually have 4 brokers, but I do most of my activities. I have 4 brokers right now because your shares are not domiciled with the stockbrokers. Your shares are domiciled with the CSCS, which is the equivalent of the central bank for cash. So the CSCS, Central Securities Clearing System, is where your stocks are domiciled. So even if the stockbroker closes down or they go out of business, your stocks are still safe and you can still retrieve them from CSCS. All right. So try Atlas. We can also still try FSDH. They are really good in terms of the direct market access, but I guess everybody else, also has direct market access. So you can trade from wherever you are without having to leave or to travel. So you can go to FSDH and then you click create account. I actually have a video demoing that on YouTube, how to open the stockbroking account. So you can also watch that step by step, what to do. And then for those of you who are not from Nigeria, what you can do is send me an email, because I contacted FSDH because the people who are not in Nigeria do not have, or who are not Nigerians do not have NIN. They do not have BVN, but they said you can fill that form manually and send to them, and then they'll set you up. So send me an email at ogbo.ogbo@gmail.com, and then I will forward it to you. But for the Nigerians, you can just go to their website and then fill it. Okay. I've not been able to open my account with FSDH. They're asking for VNIN. Elijah, I don't know which one is VNIN. I don't know which one. Maybe you wanted to type NIN or something. Yeah, you can get your NIN. Yeah, you do need your BVN and you do need your NIN to be able to open that. Okay, so once you have that, it should be very easy. It doesn't take time. You can actually have your account working within 24 hours. Okay. All right. So finally, our aha moment. So everyone, those of you on Zoom, you can type in the comment section. And then those of you on Facebook, write your aha moment, and I'm going to read it out. Write your aha moment. Okay, Ismail Mohammed says the VNIN is virtual NIN. Yeah, just type in Google how to get your virtual NIN. I believe that if it is now virtual, it's because Nigerians from different parts of the world, have been complaining that they don't get it. So you can do that. Okay. Prosperity says, I love the Ezra principle. Very good. Okay, keep your aha moments coming. What is your aha moment today? this aha moment does a lot for you and also for me, because that's one way you actually capture and internalize the key things that you're walking out of the place with, that you are going to implement. And then for me, it also helps me to know where I can create more value for you based on the things that you found very valuable. All right, good. Ezra principle. Facebook, your aha moments quickly. And those of us on Zoom, if you want to unmute and talk about it, that's fine. Or if you want to, okay. Another aha moment. Your why for investing will control what you're investing in. Absolutely. So if you define your why, it will determine your what. My daughter, Ekene Igwe, just joined. Nancy Igwe, well, that's good. You just joined. So make sure you go to the replay to get it.
Someone is asking the link to join the challenge, the World Fitness Challenge
Okay.
on Zoom meeting. Someone is asking for it. If
Okay.
you can post it there for them.
Oh, okay. Okay, in our group.
Yes, on the Zoom.
Okay.
Someone is asking how can they asked, is it late to join the challenge? And they're asking the link. I answered it's not late, and they're asking the link, but it's on my phone, it's not on my laptop. So
Okay, now, by the way, it's good you mentioned that, because tonight, the early bird is ending tonight. It is not going to be extended. And as a matter of fact, I think we'll close enrollment this weekend. We'll no longer take anybody this weekend, because by Sunday, we are having our second welcome meeting. So if you are not in that, you cannot participate. So today is the last day for the early bird to join the Financial Fitness Challenge that is happening in about 2 weeks' time. And enrollment is closing this weekend. 12 midnight today, it's gone. So what I'm going to do right now is share the information, and then you can screen capture it. You can screen capture it. Tonight is the end of the early bird. The early bird is 100,000 Naira, or $100 if you're paying from outside the country. But the fee is 120. So you can save yourself 20,000 tonight, or lose it after tonight. This is reapply to that. Okay. So this is the information on how to enroll in the Financial Fitness Challenge. I believe that that's a question you were asking. And then even if it's not, people need to. So now I will also put it in the chat so you can copy that. Oh, I thought I was actually sharing. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is how to enroll. So take a screen capture and then act on it before 12 midnight today. And then I'm also going to put it in the chat. Okay, and I'm doing the same thing on Facebook. If it allows me. All right. So those of you on Facebook, this is how to enroll, and you can do that tonight and be added to the group. Okay, so take a picture of this. Take a picture of this. So you can act on that, or you copy it from the chat section. All right, folks, that's it for tonight. It's been my pleasure. It's going to be same time, same Zoom link tomorrow. Same time, same Zoom link tomorrow. Whatever happens, be courageous and keep showing up because you have no idea what's coming your way next. I'll see you same time, same Zoom link tomorrow. Good night, everyone.